Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this week, and boy, what a week it has been. Oh wow, this is the first weekend show with the new streaming software. So hopefully it all goes well. So you'll have to let me know how things are going. I did play around a little bit with the volume because I know we had some issues last time. So I've boosted a couple things to see if we are getting it going all perfect. Hopefully we are. All right, I'm just gonna pull that mic a little bit closer. Whew. So this is the new format. We got a lot of better space. We got to change up a little bit with the new stuff over there on the side. So I think it's pretty good. I am expecting to see. I'm actually expecting to see names I've never seen in here today because we sure did get a few extra subscribers over the weekend as the last video has done really well for the channel. So nothing wrong with that. Whew. Before I get to the chat, and I can see the chat is absolutely on fire. There's definitely a lot of folks on the chat for sure. Once I get to, it's like, whoa, where did I go? Very quickly, just wanted to mention Blossom. So Blossom, for those of you who don't know what Blossom is, it is a social media app that is designed for, well, investors. It's run by investors. It's a little place you can go and talk about stocks. You can hook up your portfolio if you want to, and people can see they won't see how much money you got. They'll just see your percentages. But it is, and you don't have to do that if you don't want to, but there's a lot of good talk over there, a lot of great ideas. Give it a try. There is a link down below for that. So that should be all cool and dandy. All right. Let's actually hit the chat here. We start off with good old Jonathan. He says, I won't be late for this one. Awesome. I do not want you to be late for sure. All right, and Jungle Eddie was also pretty darn early. We got Mary in the house. So because we got Mary here, you guys have got to hit that like button, or else she'll let you know if you don't hit it. So definitely want to hit that like button. All right. Vic says, stuck in a weigh scale and missed members only stream, but not today. Holy banana bread. Oh yes, the good old weigh scale. Yeah. You need a pretty big scale to weigh one of them trucks, that's for sure. Prairie is in the house with a good afternoon and happy Sunday, everyone. It's good to see you, Prairie. Always good to see you. We've got Chad in the house. Early birds get the good trading info. Maybe. That could very well be true. We also got Lisa in here saying, hello, everyone. And JJ is saying that the volume is super low. Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear that. Let me know if maybe it's just JJ. But, I know last week, the last time we were using this, JJ was saying the volume was low and other people were saying the volume was perfect. Let's get everyone's opinion on that. So I know if there's something I got to still fix, I want to know what it is. All right. Bismarcky says, happy Sunday to all. Yeah, it's a pretty good Sunday. It's, if you're in the East, we're getting a little bit of, oh, okay. I just saw what JJ said ahead and I know exactly what that means. Perfect. If you're in the East, you're getting some really good weather right now. I'm just going to jump ahead to JJ right for a moment. So the volume was low. Sorry, the volume was low for the intro music. I turned that down on purpose. I didn't want to blast anybody's ears with that intro music, but I may have gone too far. So I will, I'll probably boost that up a little bit higher. Good to know. All right. Let's see. JJ also says, and happy close to Halloween, folks. Oh my gosh. Yes. We got one more show before Halloween. So, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Roy is in the house with a good afternoon all. Good afternoon, Roy. Always good to see you. Now you could be new because I'm thinking, have I seen Roy before? I don't think I have. So welcome to the stream, Roy. Good to see you. Bleak says hello all. CG says, just got back from 10-day fishing trip. Good to hear from everyone. Oh boy, that sounds fun. I hope you caught a lot of fish. I know as a kid, I went fishing a few times. I never caught anything, except for the bottom. And let's see, I've caught the bottom. I've caught branches on the side. And one time I even caught my grandfather's hat, and it was on his head when I did it. So, yeah, not good at fishing, but I do like looking at the water. Some John Doe says, hi all, hi Candace. Welcome back, John. Welcome back. All right. And Roy wants to know, how do we find you on Blossom? Basically Mountain Finance. Just do a search on Mountain Finance. You'll find me. If you can't, then let me know. Maybe give me your handle on Blossom. You can either email it to admin@mountainfinance.ca or leave it on any one of my videos. Then I'll go and I'll find you if you can't find me. But if you look for Mountain Finance, because I think my tag over there is ampersand Mountain Finance, but you should be able to find me pretty easy. All right. And yes, volume is fine. Volume is perfect, says Benny. Benny, I think you're new too. And also, late start investor. I do not recognize either of you. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream, both of you. Very, very good to have you, for sure. All right. And Jungle saying that the volume is good. Prairie saying, must be JJ. Volume is good over here. Let's see. I think the volume is fine. Hear you nice and clear. Niece. Another name I don't recognize. I love it. I love this. This is fantastic. It is, as Beanie says, it's not too shabby. Love it. All right. And Chad saying, yes, I can hear you. Prairie saying intro was fine. Late start investor saying, hello from Ontario. I'm new. Well, welcome. I'm actually broadcasting in Ontario. I am sitting in Ottawa at the moment. So yeah, welcome. All right. Roku Stittsville is here. Happy Sunday all. Sound is fine today for me. However, the bull has fingers and claws. Hand orange covering eyes. Oh yeah. Well. Sometimes you gotta take what you can get sometimes. Don't worry, you won't have to look at the bull that bull much longer. We'll get to the first news story here in a moment. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, bulls don't normally have claws. Oh, I missed that. Okay. Jungle says, my dad once caught a bikini top fishing. I'm hoping that it wasn't in use when he caught it, because I've got a funny picture scenario in my head right now. VLG says, happy Sunday, all. JJ says, the subscriber count is picking up nicely. Yes. Well, here's the funny thing with subscribers. So, just before we released the last video, YouTube went and did a little purge. I wasn't happy. I woke up Friday morning, down 23 subs. I'm like, what? What has happened here? But it does happen. Every so often, YouTube will go through and they'll get rid of bots and things like that. Because sometimes you get bots following you, know. So I was just like, ah. But then the video that dropped on Friday, it has done really well. It has brought in a whole slew of... It made up for the bot loss, as well as went well beyond. So we're on our way to 5,000. And those of you who remember, or anybody who's new, we always do a celebration video of some kind. I always do some kind of task or challenge or something when we hit tasks. So at 4,000, I did a full open to close live stream. So that was pretty long. 3,000, I did a parody news video. 2,000, I did the Hot Ones challenge. 1,000 was a drinking stream. So what's 5,000 going to be? We don't know yet. But now that we're past 4,500, we definitely got to start thinking about it, because, all it takes is one really crazy video, and we could be like, just a little tiny bit off of that. So yeah, definitely looking good. All right. And Chad's saying, your dad got skills, Jungle Eddie. Vic is saying, sound is good. Don't look for a financial brew. Yeah, yeah. So for those of you who are new, when we first started this channel 3 years ago, 3 years ago and a handful of days, we actually were called Financial Brew, but it was a weak name. It just, I don't know, it just didn't fit. So pretty much, I'd say about 3-4 months into the channel, just decided to go with Mountain Finance. It made a lot more sense. So that's not too shabby. All right. Let's see. Nice says, any chance you know a stockbroker that are good in Canada that accepts Swedish investors? I don't know of a single one, Nice. But I'm sure maybe there might be one. Honestly, I don't know. If anybody in chat has any information that could certainly point Nice in the right direction, let us know for sure. All right. Let's see. EU forbid us to invest in some stocks that they deem to be like an ETF. Oh, very interesting. Now, I can think of some stocks that are very much like ETFs. Give you an example, Canoe.eit. They're an income fund, but they hold other companies. Any kind of asset manager like BAM, Brookfield Asset Management, they're kind of like an ETF because they're holding other companies as well. So yeah, I can see why the EU might sort of say, oh, those look like ETFs. That's odd. Like, I honestly don't know a lot about why the EU would be have bees in their bonnet about ETFs. That sounds a little odd, but I guess here in Canada we're very used to ETFs. Like, they've been growing in popularity like a crazy amount. All right, Jay is in the house with a hi, everyone, and we got Funny Books. Hi all, happy Sunday. Just put the barbecue sauce on the chicken. Can't believe I'm barbecuing today. Hot in Ontario. Absolutely. We are going to have pretty much until about Wednesday. We're going to have kind of like summer temperatures. But then it'll be back to fall by Thursday. But yeah, that's an interesting one. Oh, Ian, for 5,000 subs, do a close to open show. That would be an all-night show. What the banana bread? No, I'm not going to do that. But I think it's funny. I think that's very, very, very funny. All right. JJ says IBKR does accept Swedish investors, I believe. Okay, so IBKR. That's something to check out, Nice. Hopefully that works out for you. Ian says, why did you pick Mountain Finance? 2 reasons. One, I wanted something with finance in it because Financial Brew, which is the initial one, and Mountain's my last name. So I'm like, why not just put it in there? And it makes a good branding. And, if I ever were to try to, grow it into a legitimate, not a legitimate. I mean, technically I do have Mountain Finance registered as a business, like the name. But if I ever decided to grow it into something bigger, I think it's a solid name that I could certainly use. All right. Jungle says, I was surprised when I found out you weren't in the mountains. I've lived in the mountains before. I've lived in Calgary, Kelowna, and of course Vancouver. So they're all pretty darn close to mountains. All right. Whoops, almost missed King a Day. King a Day is in the house with a hello. Good to see you, King a Day. Always fun to see you. A late start investor says, as I am new, can you tell me what you discuss on these live streams? I am an income investor. Thank you. Okay, well, I pretty much discuss everything. So I have 2 different types of live streams. On the Sunday, we have this one here. We call it This Week. So I have 8 news stories that I'm actually going to be bringing up as we go. So normally I start off with the audience and just talk and answer questions. And we also answer questions. So once we get through the news, a lot of it is we'll answer questions. Sometimes I even bring out a whiteboard and we look at that and for example, if somebody wants something that I can draw a picture of type thing, we do a little bit of everything, to be honest. Now the other type of live stream we have is on a weekday. So on Wednesdays we have a market close that we do. And on that show, we actually watch the market close. We take a look at what happened in the day. We look at where the market is. We look at the winners, the losers. And then after we've done that, of course, I answer mostly questions. So I get a lot of questions for sure. So definitely, I think we're very new investor friendly for sure. So we also have, for those of you who are new, we have a Discord. So we have a Discord. The link for that is down below. We also have a Facebook group. That link is down below as well. Because some people, for example, they may not like Discord. Because Discord, it's a little busy sometimes. And some people are like, I got the Facebook. I'm happy with Facebook. Let's hook up over there. And now, over on both Discord and Facebook, you can get the schedule. So you can actually see, what it is that we are doing. Which is kind of cool. But anyway, we'll talk more about that as we get into the stream. Normally, these ones here go about 2 hours. The ones on the weekday go about an hour and a half, roughly. Now, we go overtime all the time because, if you guys are in here and you got lots of great questions, we're going to definitely look at a lot of different stuff. All right. Jay Borg says, how is EIT taxed? Oh, boy. You're going to get a little bit of everything in EIT, to be honest. You are going to definitely get return of capital. You are definitely going to get foreign income. You're going to get Canadian eligible dividends in there as well. You might get some ineligible dividends as well. Now, here's the thing with Canoe. Because Canoe uses a lot of return of capital, I highly recommend that you don't even worry about the taxes on Canoe. You just throw them in a registered account. I love the stock to death, but it's a stock I don't want to hold outside of a registered account because of the taxes, because of the excessive capital gains that you're going to get, because that return of capital is lowering your adjusted cost base. So that's not a good thing with Canoe, but I still love, still one of my favorite stocks for sure. All right. JJ says, many of us are hybrid investors, so I'm sure you'll be looking for what you'll be looking for. We welcome any questions and welcome to the community from our friendly cop mod. I don't want to know, JJ. I don't want to know. I will mention, though, late start investor. I mean, if you are looking for income stocks, the next video that is dropping, that will be Tuesday, although channel members do get to see videos 1 day early. So you guys will be able to see that tomorrow, is going to be high dividend monthly ETFs that are under $15. So another one of those budget ones, because I did a budget one a little, maybe last week. So that's the second one. We did stocks last time. This time we're doing ETFs. So definitely some good ones in there as well. Especially if you are an income investor. I think the income investors will love this one. All right. Let's see where we're at. VLG. Lots of flooding here in BC. Oh, I've seen some of the pictures. I've seen some pictures of some cars floating down the street in Vancouver. Oh, wow. Also had our BC election yesterday. Yes. And that could you have gotten a closer election? So what was it? Was it 46 NDP, 45 Conservative, and 2 Green as for the seats? So I imagine, though, because I saw a lot of the seats in BC were very, very close. So I imagine you're going to be probably spending a week with recounts. So let's see how that turns out. But definitely a very interesting election nonetheless. All right. And Chad wanted to know who won. So technically, the NDP are sitting in a minority situation at the moment. So we'll have to see if that changes with recounts, because they were a lot of close. So you could conceivably have changes, but we'll have to see how that looks. Let's see. Ian says, late start investor, if you have any questions about gardening, no, don't do this, Ian. don't send late start down the wrong road. Apparently somebody with the same name as Ian has a, is it a naughty gardener? Is that what it is? A naughty gardener page? Oh boy. VLG says winner is still to be determined. Super tight between the NDP and the Conservatives. Yeah, because there is going to be recounts for sure. I know there was one riding I think I looked at earlier, and I think the NDP was holding it by 25 votes. I'm like, oh boy. So that's kind of good, kind of good. And JJ just dropped the link over there for the Discord. I guess you guys can drop links in this one. I did not know this until now. Or wait a minute, JJ's a mod. Maybe that's why. Who knows? Chad says NDP Liberal Light. Okay, well they are both technically on that side. Wayne says, Candace, have you completed the Canadian Securities course? I completed mine in 1976. Things have changed since then. Yeah. So I mean, I've gone through all the material for the course. I'm not actually interested though in getting any certification for it, only because a lot of the next steps, if you actually want to go into a financial advisor role, a lot of those steps involve actually, I'd have to like step away from YouTube for a bit and do a whole bunch of sort of, what do you call it? Sort of almost an internship. And I don't want to do that. I'm very happy doing what I am doing. And I don't mind being a communicator. And that to me is communicator, educator, all of that, entertainer. That to me is kind of, I think that's where I belong. So I'm okay with that. I don't want to work in a dusty old office or at a bank. I would rather be communicating with you guys. All right. Let's see here. ETFs for high yield. Thanks. Thanks. Look forward to that video. Yeah, I think you'll like it. I'm pretty sure you'll like it. How do you feel? Our colic. How do you feel about YieldMax products? Okay, so YieldMax, these are a series of ETFs that they have down. They're US products. They're what's called synthetic covered calls. So the difference between a regular covered call and a synthetic covered call is regular covered calls, you're holding, you're actually writing options on the underlying stocks that you're holding. In the case of a synthetic covered call, you're not actually holding the stock. You're still writing options on it. And, depending on how those options go, you may be forced to buy some of it so that you can hand out that stock. But they have been around for a while, and they do have really, really high yields, which is great. I think it's fantastic. But here's the thing. A lot of the growth, when you look at the actual stock growth for YieldMax, it's not the underlying asset per se that's causing it to grow. It's basically demand. So if people are buying it, the price goes up. Now, it looks like when you look at it initially, you're like, oh, okay, NVIDIA is up, so the NVIDIA YieldMax one is up as well. Well, that's because if NVIDIA is up, people start to get excited about NVIDIA and get excited about ETFs like this that offer them very high dividends. So they definitely jump on the train or on the boat for that. Now, personally, I'm still kind of on the fence as to whether or not I like them. I understand them, and I think a lot of people really, really love them. Now, for Canadian investors, if you're going to get into something like YieldMax, you know where you need to put them. Those need to go into your RRSP. Otherwise, you're going to be paying a pretty hefty 15% withholding tax on those. But I do like them. I did have a request, actually, for me to go through some of the YieldMax. Again, I am thinking of doing a US covered call video. Like, it's overdue. It's very overdue because I haven't done one in a while. So I'm definitely going to, and I'll probably have some of the YieldMax in that, as well as a few of the others, high dividend US ones that are out there. Like, I believe, is it Roundtree? I think Roundtree has some as well. So there's definitely a lot that I want to look at. Ian says he was joking. Yes, but still, don't find out the punchline. Sorry. There we go. Don't find out the punchline. Do not. Nobody, everybody, stay away from Ian's name and Gardner. Trust me. I haven't actually gone and looked, so I don't know how bad it is. But Ian has scared me enough that I don't want to. VLG says one of the ridings was flipped back and forth and currently 23. Okay. Oh, this could be interesting. This could be very, very interesting. It's one of the reasons I didn't actually prepare a story on the BC election, because I had a feeling it was going to be tight, and right now. I'll probably talk about it. I might talk about it next Sunday. All right. Vic says, market's been crazy due for a pullback, close swing to wait in cash. It's kind of interesting. Like, I don't think we're going to see a pullback this year. Now, there's a lot of people who think we're going to see one in 2025. I'm not sold on that yet. I mean, we will have another bear market. Probably could even be as early as late 2025. It's hard to say, but if we keep going up the way we're going up right now, that could be very, very, very interesting. We could have a pretty interesting bear market to follow. So it's hard to say. It's really hard to say what's going to happen. Now, keep in mind, last year we had a lot of people saying, oh, the whole market's going to crash. We're going into a depression. And they're going to say the same thing this year. So you have to take it with a little bit of grain of salt. Right now, if both between the Fed and the Bank of Canada, if we can stick that soft landing, I think we're going to be fine. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll have, we may have a strong market for a bit, but, that market will eventually come to an end. I'm not worried about it happening this year, but I will definitely, I'm going to keep my eyes open. And that's one of the things with this channel is when I start to see some signs that things are looking really, really bad, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to tell you guys. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Ian says, famous naked gardener has the same name as me. I don't think my parents named me Ian because of it. I will have to ask my mom. Yeah. And then, of course, you have to, you kind of have to figure out where, if she named you after a naked gardener, it'd be like, you need a reason. It's like, Mom, you got some explaining to do. All right. We got Joe W. Let's see. Hi, Candace. To me, Bitcoin seems like a shared delusion where folks will wake up one day and realize they're holding digital beanie babies. Why is crypto not a worthless bubble? That's a good question. Here's the thing. Everything, like even the US dollar, because it's no longer backed by gold, technically is in the same boat if you think about it. There's nothing that, other than people's trust in that bill that makes it valuable. And it's the same thing with Bitcoin and with crypto. Now, there's a lot of crypto out there that I think is absolute crap and I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. But the thing about Bitcoin is you have so many people that are invested in it. You're starting to get institutional investment in it. You've got, everything from the spot Bitcoin ETFs. That alone is creating more and more stability and making it less likely that we would run into a scenario where we would wake up one day and say, Bitcoin is a beanie baby. So I don't see it happening. It could happen with some other coins. Absolutely. I think if a coin does not have some kind of a function behind it, so we're talking like I would say 90% of all the altcoins are probably in the end absolute, I guess you could call them beanie babies if you want to. I think there's a lot of worthlessness in there, but I think with the big coins, I see it actually being fine. I see it fine. I don't think you have to worry too much. But, and here's the thing I always say too, you don't have to get involved in crypto. Nobody does. There's enough really solid investing runway within stocks and other, commodities, things like that. You don't even have to touch Bitcoin if you don't want to. It's perfectly fine. All right. Reeman Noodle says, oh boy, I have 821 in NVDY. I got a story about it. Haha, it's so volatile. Yeah, it absolutely is. And it's interesting. I mean, we actually did a market close here on the last earnings call that we had for NVIDIA. And, even though they exceeded expectations, they still fell, and they fell pretty hard. And there was a lot of people, I think, that were a little bit upset. about that. And I think a lot of people who were kind of planning, it's like, I'm going to make some big money off of this one. I had a play on it as well. I'll admit that. And it didn't go as planned. But one of the things I did sort of mention is that, look, guys, it's not the time to be selling NVIDIA. They're going to get back up. And they have. They absolutely have. Jungle just sold sold out at 140. So that's not too shabby. So people have still made money. You just have to be a little patient. Sometimes with some types of stock, and NVIDIA would be in that area, you're going to have some corrections. And if you get caught in a correction in a trade, that's one where you can ride it out because it's going to come back up. Definitely. All right, let's see. Round Hill. That's what I was thinking of. Round Hill. Thank you, JJ. Ian says, worried the China economy might draw the world into a recession like in 2014, only this time would probably be worse. Yeah, now China is one of those kind of, I'm not going to call them a black swan, but they're kind of black swan like with what they're doing right now. I mean, pumping money into their economy kind of to avoid some of the issues that they're having. Eventually, they will have to pay the piper. And where they are, they're the second largest economy in the world. That means that it will have worldwide impacts if they were to go down. So I can understand why you might think it could drag us into a recession. And it is possible. I mean, we could still go into a recession. I'm not trying to, I don't want to paint 2025 as being all fun and games. There is a lot of real things, real world events that could certainly have a lot of impact for sure. All right. Whoops. Gold and silver. Yeah, gold and silver were definitely on a tear last week. I know even on the market close on Friday, we were sort of watching. I mean, silver, holy banana bread. It was up there. It was really up there. I don't see anything going right now, as long as we have a little bit of, this week it's kind of this interesting thing. So this week, when we actually look at the, what we have for stimulus in the market. So in Canada, we got a rate cut that's coming on Wednesday, but we don't actually have a lot on the docket for the U.S. So that's going to keep things a lot of status quo. Now, I think silver and gold will be fine. I don't see them falling. Will they continue to sort of blow up the way they have been this week? It's hard to say. It really is. I would say they're still going to be. My prediction is they're going to be up a little bit over the course of the week. I don't think we're going to see anything big, though. So just something to keep in mind. All right. 336 and Coney, 2 both are. The Coinbase one. Nice. And that right now, while crypto, I mean, Bitcoin has been moving up. And although I'll tell you, it's kind of funny. If you look at the Bitcoin chart right now, we're kind of moving in this flat line almost. So something big, either up or down, is going to happen, I think, pretty soon too. If it's up, it could be very interesting. And that would be very good, of course, for you if you're holding Coney. All right, let's see here. Mary says, I'm going to have a sip of coffee while everyone hits the like button. You read my mind. You read my mind, Mary. There we go. Now, normally, I would say I taste blue. But I now have this count on this new system. So I can see right now we're sitting at 30 likes. So the second you hit that like button, I can see it move. So if you've not hit the like button, definitely hit that like button. I want to see a 31 here in a second. Jonathan says, there's our 31. Look at that. You guys rock. What would be the best total return ETF for a Canadian to hold in an unregistered account? Oh, well, here's the thing. You want, of course, to go with lower dividends. You also want them to be investing in Canadian companies so that they're eligible. So I'll give you one example of a great ETF. XEG. When oil is pumping XEG just goes, it's an amazing company. It's an amazing ETF. So they're investing in Canadian oil, like oil and energy companies. So most of those dividends are going to be Canadian eligible. They don't have a ton of dividends. You're really focusing, though, on that growth. So that might be one to look at, sort of stocks like that. I think VDY is another one that would be a good option as well. So that's a Vanguard one. Now they do have their dividend, I believe, it's not super big. But once again, you're getting most of that growth out of the actual growth of the stock. So, I think those are two I would think of that I can think of off the top of my head. I have a feeling that a few people are going to start throwing some at you. Vic is saying HEWB. And Vic says Global X Corporate Class ETFs be the answer. Pirate. Okay. Why not? All right. JJ is throwing out HXS, VFE, XUS for US exposure. Right. Other than, as soon as you have that US exposure, you are looking at, one, withholding tax before it gets to the company. So you don't even see that, but you do lose a little bit from that. You're also looking at, you're probably looking as well within that breakdown at things like, for example, foreign income within that dividend payment, which then becomes 100% taxable. So just something to keep in mind. All right. Ian says, I was born in late November. Guy from the Department of Highways came and plowed out the yard, put down some gravel. His name was Ian. That's where my name came from. Okay. All right. There you go. All right. JJ is putting down XEQT, HEQT, VEQT, ZEQT for international. So those are your all equity ETFs. Those are all fantastic. Holy banana bread. And JJ has more. XIC, XEI, VDY, XIU for Canadian exposure. Welcome to the stream, 9. 9 has XDiv, good in a non-registered too. There we go. Andrew saying, everyone hit the like button. Well, we're up to 38, so that's fantastic. Yeah, hit that like button. Just slam it. And the reason, and this is why YouTubers are always saying, hit the like button. Basically, when you hit the like button, or even the dislike button, believe it or not, that helps as well. What it does is it pushes out to the algorithm that people are interacting with a video or with a live stream. And then the algorithm looks and says, oh, yeah, people are enjoying this. Let's push it out to more people. So for that YouTuber, it becomes a way of discovery for people to, maybe who haven't been to the live stream before, all of a sudden say, oh, I got nothing to do. Oh, finance. Let's go in and check this out. So always good. There we go. 39. Andrew, you succeeded. You brought another one to the fold. All right. Gene says VDY has the return of capital. Oh, I think I'm caught up. So we can start the news here after Ian. I find if you get eligible dividends in your non-registered account and put the dividends into an RRSP, you end up getting lowering your tax rate. It's an interesting thing. When you look at your RRSP, it's a fantastic tool for sure. Like anything that if you put something in it, you are definitely going to lower your tax rate because you can use that money to level against your taxes. But keep in mind, you are going to eventually get taxed on everything you put into it. And I always say this, I've seen people say, I'm going to use my RRSP to save on a 15% withholding tax that happens somewhere, before, and then they're like, okay, but to do that, you've now made it 100% taxable. So if you have room in your TFSA, maybe you could have utilized things a little bit better. So just something to think about. All right. And some John Doe says, hit the like button, friends. It's as if it owes you money. There we go. All right. And Chad says, I do that with Wealthsimple Cash account. Put the interest into RRSP accounts. Awesome. All right. Now, just give me a second here. I have to pull something out here because I need to get to my next thing. And I kind of put my chat over top of my scenes because we're going to go to our next scene and our top story. Inflation. It is on the ropes. Hence the picture. So you guys will know. Those of you who are new to the chat, by the way, I use beavers. And it's actually kind of a funny thing. I think the reason I started using beavers in these pictures is that there's a bunch of new bills and new laws out in the country that are going to eventually start regulating kind of the way YouTube works for Canadians. So I want to make sure that the CRTC sees this as Canadian content. What's more Canadian than a beaver, right? So I will use beavers, and you'll see them. But anyway, inflation is on the rope. So we had our CPI that came out this week, and it was fantastic. So year over year, CPI came in at 1.6%. They were anticipating, so it was expected to come in at 2%. So we absolutely blew the CPI out of the water in a great way. Last month, by the way, we came in at 2%. So we dropped basically 0.4%. So month over month, we came in at negative 0.4%. We were expected to come in at negative 0.2%. So we beat that as well. Last month, we were at negative 0.2%. Now, when we strip out all of those more volatile categories to get our core, year over year, we came in at 1.6 on core as well. Now, this one's different. We were actually estimated to come in at 1.5. So we actually came in a little hotter on this one. Last month, we were at 1.5. With the month over month on the core, we came in at 0%. We were anticipated to come in at 0.1. So we did better on that. Last month, we were at negative 0.1. But overall, this is a great CPI. Now, because last week, we got our jobs numbers, and our jobs numbers were good job numbers because, there were more jobs. Unemployment came down, but that didn't, that's not great when it comes to what the rate cut's going to look like. But this pretty much has nailed into the coffin that we're looking at a 50 basis point rate cut on Wednesday. So that's what we're looking at. And there are some economists out there that believe we're going to get the double whammy. We're going to get a 50 basis cut on the 23rd of October. And then in December, which is our next meeting after that, we're going to get another 50. So if we get a full 100 basis points before the end of the year, that's going to be huge on some of these stocks that are sensitive to rates. So for example, that will be massive for REITs. REITs are going to love this. It's also going to be good for utilities, and I think it's going to be really good for our communication sector as well. So I think Bell, TELUS, Rogers are going to respond well to it. Air Canada will love it too. We looked at Air Canada the other day. Now, Air Canada right now is on a bit of a tear. They're doing really, really well. But what's really cool about Air Canada is, this isn't cool. They have an insane amount of debt. So any rate cuts is going to be fantastic for them. It's going to start bringing down that servicing quite a bit. So inflation on the ropes. It's looking good. Really big rate cut coming up on Wednesday. And we have a market close on Wednesday as well. So we'll definitely be looking at that as we go along. So definitely cool. All right. All right, where are we at? Here we are. We're down here with living on cash. How do I get the dividends in my RRSP to count as contributions for a greater tax break? You can't. The simple answer is you can't, because it's already in your RRSP. So anything that gets created in your RRSP, whether it be from dividends or whether it be capital gains, it's not even really capital gains, it's just growth. That is kind of, once it enters your RRSP, you can't really do anything with it. Now, I mean, you could pull it out, but then you're going to take a tax hit. So here's the situation. I guess this is a hypothetical. Hypothetically, if you were having a very low tax year, and let's say you weren't making very much money at all, but you didn't need it for whatever reason, but you were in that zero tax bracket, you could conceivably take whatever that amount is that you have left in that bracket out of your RRSP tax-free. You still have to claim it, but it would be taxed at nothing because you're in that zero bracket. Then, this is the beauty part of this, The next year, let's say you're making a little bit more, that money you took out tax-free, you could put back in, and you would conceivably, you would end up getting a tax break from that. So that is kind of a hypothetical. I mean, it's very limited in scope with how that would work. I definitely wouldn't want you to do it. I mean, it's just kind of a crazy, think of it as a thought experiment, but technically you could do something like that. All right. Let's see here. Here we are. See, Jim Thorne says we are heading towards 2% interest rates in 2025. Yeah, we are. Here's the beautiful thing. When you look at the Bank of Canada and their expectations, we're pretty much almost a year ahead of where we should be in the fight against inflation. They were not anticipating 2% inflation until well into 2025, perhaps even early 2026. So we beat that. We've already beat that. That's one of the reasons that we're going to start to see a little bit more aggressive rate cuts. We're absolutely completely beating it, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I guess the biggest concern, and this is kind of that big concern, when you think about a recession, if we don't cut, like let's say we stay on a nice slow course of cutting, that does leave us open for a possible recession. So cutting right now, I think cutting is good because, you want to stimulate the economy a little bit. We don't want unemployment to be going up. We're at a high, and I had mentioned this before on the channel. I was saying that if we had unemployment go up, and it went down, so that's good. But if unemployment had gone up at that point, at that last jobs meeting, that would have been dangerous. That would have guaranteed a 50 basis point as well. But the inflation has definitely helped us big time. Let's see. Bill says everything in your RRSP is pre-tax dollars. Yeah, I mean, because everything in there, doesn't matter what it is, you're going to pull it out, it will get taxed. And that's kind of the whole idea, right? Everything that you put into your RRSP, because it's going to get taxed at a future rate, that's why it gets pulled out of your tax bucket when you put it in. Now, the whole idea with the RRSP is basically to be putting money in when you're in a high tax bracket, so you're paying less tax then, so that way there, when you do get taxed on it when you pull it out, you should be at a point when it's lower. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for it to be much, much lower. All right. Okay, that there is. We got, let me put this up. We got ourselves a super chat. Scott's Stock Due Diligence, a fantastic channel, by the way. If you guys have not caught, and I know you guys love deep dives, you guys love the numbers, you'll love Scott's Stock Due Diligence. They are absolutely awesome. In fact, me and Scott are kind of just starting some opening talks about doing a live stream down the road together. I think it would be fantastic. Thank you, Scott. You are the GOAT. I don't have a GOAT graphic yet for the new setup, so we will definitely have to get one. Scott has reminded me, get a GOAT. All right. Let's see, where are we at right now? All right. Do bank stocks like rate cuts? That's a very good question. And I'll tell you why. When we're in a situation, like if we weren't in the situation that we're in now, where we did that aggressive string of rate hikes and then the lower cuts. So normally if we're in a situation where, the Bank of Canada raises it every so often, lowers it every so often as they're just keeping equilibrium, banks tend to like it when it gets raised because obviously they are able to pull more interest from customers. But right now we're in the situation where, because of the way the economy has happened, because of the mortgage wave that's coming at them, rate cuts right now are more of a help than a hindrance. So right now, yes, they're going to help them. One, yeah, sure, it's going to lower their, it's going to lower some of their interest a little bit, but that's not the big thing with it. The big thing with it is that these rate cuts are making it a little bit easier for people to actually pay what they owe the banks and not move into a situation of default. And that's going to be absolutely huge for the banks, because that's what they want. And the banks right now, they're looking and saying 50 basis points? Yes, please. Another 50 basis points in December? Absolutely. Because, the biggest wave of the mortgage renewals is still to come. We're in the early parts of the wave. It's like if this were a tsunami, we're at that point where there's fish flapping on the sand. So we're in the very early phases of this still. But, and this is the nice thing. Now, keep in mind, this is for Canada, right? So for the United States, we got a different story. And the reason we have a different story is that we have much longer mortgage options. So a lot of the people who grabbed mortgages in the United States during the pandemic, they were signing them up for very long amounts of time, not 3 to 5 years like what was happening in Canada. So that completely changes things a little bit down there. But at the same time, you are looking at a lot of businesses struggling in the U.S. with higher interest rates. Look at what happened with some of the regional banks last year. That, partially was due to some of the higher interest rates. So I think overall, it's definitely going to be a good thing for banks, both sides of the borders, maybe for slightly different reasons. But once we get to equilibrium, though, that answer will change. Once we're all beyond that answer is completely going to change. All right. Vic says, if you think BC election was close, watch the one south of the border. Oh, yes. I mean, that is what's the best word to say? No matter who wins the U.S. election, it's going to be entertaining. I actually said that last year, and it has held up true. I've been seeing things in this election that I've never seen in an election before, and I don't know who's going to win. Now, Wall Street is basically saying there's about a 72% chance that it's going to be Kamala, but we'll have to see. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people are like, okay, but Trump is better for stocks. On the surface, perhaps. But you also have to realize a lot of Trump's plans. So I know, was it Wall Street Journal came out and they were saying these plans you're looking at are going to basically cost insane amount of money. So that could lead to, of course, money printing, more debt. So it's going to be very interesting, I think. I'm going to enjoy the next 30 days. And here's the thing is, I have a feeling that even after the election in November, there's probably still going to be drama because, if Kamala wins, Trump will probably contest the whole thing. So we're going to have a very, very, very interesting election cycle for sure. Oh, excuse me. Mortgage rates variable. So here is, and this is a wonderful question. If you have to renew a mortgage right now, we're at the beginning of rate cuts. So obviously, if you go in with a fixed rate, that may not be the best idea. I guess if I was renewing a mortgage, I would probably look to see what is available. I probably would go with a variable because we are heading down. I don't think we're going to come back up after we get back down, at least not for a while. Might be a situation though. Here's what I would say. I would probably take the shortest term of a variable rate that I could take, because I might look at switching to fixed afterwards. Once it's down, it's kind of one of those things like, this is not the best time to be going into a mortgage, but, there's a lot of people that are going to be going in because we do have a wave of people coming in. I think at this point, variable would make a lot more sense, unless you've got some kind of really fantastic deal. The other thing too, and this will be tempting, I think, for a lot of people, is there's a lot of these smaller mortgage companies that are basically looking into the future, and they're like, okay, we're going to get this rate cut and this rate cut. So they're jumping the gun and offering you even lower rates because they're like, okay, well, we'll be there in a couple of months. Why don't we offer them now so that we can take some of these mortgages from the big banks? So that's what they have been doing. So definitely very, very interesting. All right. All right. And we got ourselves, let me just pull this over here. Oh, we got ourselves another super sticker here. Coming in from Living on Cash. Let's see. Thanks, written on top of a purple heart. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. I know I'm falling behind. I have to sort of answer things a little more. Stop going off on tangents, basically. But that's fine. We'll do it. All right. Ian says, I have a trick to get RRSP dividends to count as a tax write-off, but it's too complicated to explain in the comment section. Ooh, so anybody interested in that, you might want to hit Ian up over on the Discord. Maybe he'll share it with you. Living on Cash says, I made too much this year, and I will definitely owe. I thought of transferring the dividends to my TFSA, then transfer back to my RRSP. Would I be taxed on the dividends in this case? Well, okay, so if you, first of all, okay, if you have them in your TFSA, you're not getting taxed. That's fine. There's no tax on those dividends. And then transfer them back to you. So I'm trying to think here, Living, are you saying that you want to transfer them out of your RRSP and then into your TFSA? Because if you do that, you're going to be, it's going to tax, whatever you pull out of that will be taxable income out of your RRSP. So that's probably not the best idea to pull it out of your RRSP to move it into your TFSA. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that at all. Just be a little bit careful with that. Now, if you are in a situation that you have made a lot of dividends or just a lot of income in general, you can certainly put anything you want into your RRSP, and that will pull your taxes down, which is good. Putting something into your TFSA, maybe not. But what you could do is, if you are in a situation that you have stuff outside of your registered accounts, and you're looking at some capital gains tax in there as well, you could have a sort of a tax loss harvesting moment where you sell something at a loss on purpose to get yourself a little bit of a capital loss that you can apply against a capital gain. Then you could take that money as you get new room in your TFSA, move it into that. And this was an idea of Ian's, I thought, that was fantastic. You could move it into it that way, and that would allow you to, basically to sort of to get rid of that. It gets rid of tax. It's a really kind of a cool thing to do. All right. Massive super chat. Yes, absolutely. That was in reference to Scott's stock due diligence. Absolutely. I love Scott's channel, by the way, guys. So definitely check that out. All right. Bismarcky, with rate cuts coming, need to sell all my cash ETF and invest in a REIT ETF. Yes. And that's the thing. REITs They absolutely love rate cuts. And part of the reason for that is if you think about bonds, so bonds have this inverse relationship to rates. So when rates are going down, bonds are going up. Now what that means is because bonds are getting more expensive, well, the coupon on the bond is the same. So that's like their yield, but that number gets smaller. So what you end up having is you have a lot of people who are looking at the yields on new bonds and they're not getting involved. They're like, why am I going to buy a bond with a very small yield? I'm just going to go into REITs. And that's one of those things. You get a lot of money that moves out of the bond market over into the real estate and REIT market. And that's one of the reasons that REITs do really, really well. So just something to keep in mind. Oh, we got a happy face from Scott. And there's the goat. There's the goat. We got the goat. I got to get the goat done. So yeah, what I'm talking about, guys, is on the old, I was using StreamYard. On StreamYard, I had this a little goat video that I played every time somebody gave a super. Now I have moved to Ecamm Live. So I'm on a completely different one. And yeah, so I don't have a graphic or anything yet. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to keep on adding new stuff. I really like the new format. I like, for example, let me show you guys something I can do. I could not do this before, but now I can switch to this and then switch back to the news without losing format. Over on StreamYard, I used to have to say, we can't go and look at something because it'll lose all my formatting. Here I can do it. So I'm absolutely tickled pink about it. So good. All right. Jonathan says, oh my God, it's Scott. It's a buy according to the model. There we go. Riley says, second on the question on TSX, DIV. Oh, yes, DIV. I love DIV. So this is Diversified Royalty. What I love about this company is they're more of an income stock. And you know what? Let's take a look at them. I can do this now. We really got to get to some of the news, but that's fine. I'm not in any hurry here. All right, let's go over here. Give me a second here. Let me pull up, or attempt to pull this up. All right, whatever reason, I'm just going to reload the page. There we go. All right, so DIV, this is one of my favorite little stocks. Now, Diversified Royalty Corp, they hold royalties. So, for example, Mr. Lube, Air Miles, just to name a couple, those are royalties that they hold. Now, this is a stock, and we'll go back. I'm going to go back about 5 years. And you can see, well, here's the big pandemic drop. This is a stock that it's not a total return stock. It is an income stock. It's a little stock, $3. They tend to range between, like in this case here, $3.35 down to about, $2.60 or so. That tends to be where they live. But, and this is why I'm saying it's an income stock. They have this fantastically high dividend here, 8.25%. They're very reliable. I cannot think of a single instance where they've ever missed their dividend. So this is one of these ones that when you're buying your stocks and you got a little bit of money left over and you're like, oh, what do I do with this? This is kind of what I do. I just throw it into Div. When we pull up some of their key data here, you will see this is one thing I love. They got a return on assets up at 6.19. That's a wonderful number. Their return on equity, 13.46. Now, they do have debt. They absolutely do. 129% debt to equity ratio. But it's one of these situations where this doesn't bother me. They have a very good history of being insanely reliable, and it's just 2.1 cents. Well, it used to be just 2 cents, so they actually did raise their dividend. But they've been paying for a long time, and you can sort of see, and their dividend does creep up, so you do get some increase in their dividend, and it's just a fantastic little stock. So I do like them. Keep in mind, royalty stocks, there's not a lot of overhead because they're making money off of these royalties for the most part. So definitely a great stock that I love. Oh boy, I just noticed here. I'm going to get rid of that. For some reason, with this new setup, there we go. It tends to hold the last comment, even if it was from a previous chat. So I just have to remember to myself, remember to remove those comments. All right. Anyway, that's Div. I do love Div a lot. I did do a deep dive on them probably a year and a half ago, maybe. But I still love them. I'm still very bullish on them overall as an income stock. Don't expect a lot of growth, even though right now, it looks like there's a lot of growth happening, but they normally stay within that zone. And, I don't anticipate a lot of growth, but their dividend is pretty reliable. So that to me is just fantastic. All right, let's get back to here. Holy banana bread, where the heck am I? Let's see. Ian says, I like Scott's due diligence, but he dives so deep I can't follow it and end up feeling like a hillbilly. Still a fan of this channel. All right. Awesome. And Scott noted it. Ian says, Scott, don't change on account of me. I just need to educate myself. Ian, I would like to know the trick you mentioned regarding the dividends. Vic says, I'm waiting. Is cash until U.S. election is sorted out. We'll wait with Buffett. Yes. Now, keep in mind, some of the recent money that, like with the Bank of America, for example, some of the selling on that has been that the Bank of America's stock has been going up, and as a result, it's been getting a little bit bigger than it should be in Buffett's portfolio. So there was some selling for that reason. All right, let's see here. Trump is good for comedians. The late night shows definitely love him. What are they going to talk about after the election? That's going to be fun. Let's see, Scott, that marine video was awesome. 9 says, I like cash interest rates are still decent. Yeah, absolutely. And I think those cash interest rates are not really going to be, they're not going to change. They have been very reliable, and they don't respond directly to interest hikes. So that's a beautiful thing about them. We got Vineet in the house. By the way, guys, Vineet has just started a YouTube channel. So I did post a link over on Discord if you want to just check out Vineet. Give him some encouraging words, all of that fun stuff. But yeah, day one of Vineet's YouTube career has begun. So congratulations, Vineet. Ian says, I might make a video on Discord about the trick. It's not that fancy, not trying to build a suspense or anything. All right. Vineet says, I know somebody who has a fixed mortgage, 2%. Oh boy, that's really good. You colored your hair just in time. There we go. Ian says, living on cash, I'm not a YouTube or a streamer, but I will try to let you know what I'm talking about with the RRSP trick. All right. Oh, we're almost caught up. This is great. Vineet, I know 2 at 1.63 and 1.64. What is the name of Scott's channel? It's Scott's Due Diligence. JJ, if you could you link it for me, please? If you're still here. If he's not, I'll make sure I'll get a copy of the address here in a moment. Ian says, I will make a video on Discord after the stream. Where would you hold DIV? Okay, so DIV, yeah, I mean, they've got pretty good decent. I normally hold it in the TFSA just for that reason. Their dividends, I mean, as far as I know, I do believe that they're Canadian eligible, but it's a situation where you're still going to pay some taxes on them. So where you're looking at an 8% dividend yield, I would put it in your TFSA or even your RRSP. All right, let's see. Ian says, JJ is driving. Ian says, Andrew says, I'm buying stocks that only go up and to the right, like IFC Intact Financial. Oh, nice one for sure. Vineet, what's your channel? Candace don't mind self-promotion. I don't mind that at all. In fact, over on the Discord, I have a channel that is for self-promotion. It's like, if you've got a YouTube channel that has something to do with finance or has, heck, even if it's something you think that might interest the community, feel free to drop it over there. Drop the links. People will check it out for you. All right. Skiz says, I wonder if there are any easy gains in Trump's DJT stock. I'll tell you, there might be, but I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. It's kind of like anything that Wall Street Bets throws at. The timing is almost everything. So I'd be careful. on that, Skiz. There was one thing I forgot to mention. So I think it was yesterday, there was apparently something happened in the comments on the latest video. I don't know what it is. Somebody made some kind of comment, and I think a regular here also tried to reply to it, and I never really got to see much of it because YouTube sometimes goes crazy if they don't like a comment, and they deleted it, and they deleted the reply. I only know that it happened because I got to see a tiny bit of an email notification. But when I tried to go to it, it was already gone. So, if for whatever reason I didn't reply to you on something yesterday, or if a comment got deleted, not me, it was YouTube. It's one of those things. I could loosen, like, I have the rules pretty tight on YouTube because I don't want to deal with a lot of with trolls. So it does happen sometimes that like, for example, if you put anything in with a period. So if you tried to put I'm talking about HMM.A, they will see that dot and think you're trying to put in a website, and it'll delete it. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you get put into this little holding room and I can go in and approve it. But sometimes it just completely deletes you. And I've never quite understood why, because I've seen things that have been deleted that really there's no rhyme or reason why it was deleted. So just something to keep in mind. And 9 says, YouTube deletes all my replies. Oh no. I don't know what that's all about. But just know, guys, I'm not deleting your stuff. The only things I delete in the comments are things from scammers. Like, for example, where that one person drops a comment and then 20 other people quickly reply on it, all going on about how how Harvey Humpscruncher's the best financial advisor out there and you got to get in touch with him on WhatsApp. Those get deleted. And these new ones that bots have been coming in where they just put a bunch of names all put together, those ones I'm deleting, because what happens with those is the bots will come in and they'll give you that reply, and it'll be like George Jones, Frank Miller something, or and it looks innocent. YouTube doesn't pay any attention to them, but I do. I've been trying to find out what those have been all about. Well, it turns out the bots come in, they put them in so that way they get through the defenses, and then they come back. I don't know how much time later, but they come back at a later moment, and what they do is they edit those posts, and then they put their spam stuff in there or their scam stuff in there, so that way people watching older videos will run into them. But luckily I know what they're up to, and they're not getting those past me. No way. I'm just gonna absolutely, I'm gonna go to war with them if I have to. All right, and there we go. Life and Money Coach. There's the name of the channel right there. Let's see. 9 says the financial advisor scam content change always makes me laugh when I see it. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, we finally get caught up. That means we can actually go to another story. All right. So apparently, the dairy farmers don't really keep records on this, but it has been estimated that Canadian dairy farmers have thrown out between 6.8 and 10 billion liters of milk since 2012. So we're looking at the price tag on that milk that's being thrown out, $14.9 billion. That's a lot of milk. This is a higher amount of milk that's being cast out than pretty much any other dairy producing country out there. So as it is right now, and there's kind of an issue as to why it's happening. One, it's legal. You're legally allowed to throw away good milk. If we want to fix this, we probably may want to make it less legal, or at least a lot less friendly. Publish waste data would be another big key thing as to how we could fix it. Let's publish waste data so Canadians actually know how much of this food, how much of this milk is being thrown away regularly, of course. While, of course, I imagine it would feel bad if you're a Canadian and you're looking at, oh, this is how much milk's being thrown away. Oh, look over here. Look at how much more I have to pay for milk in the store. So there's a bit of a disconnect with that. They also need to look at the production targets, because they set some pretty high production targets on farmers. If they're throwing away that much milk, perhaps those production targets are a little bit too high. And there's also penalties on farmers who are not producing enough. So they probably need to do away with the penalties as well. And now I know that, we're talking about milk, but one of the interesting things, and this staggered me a little bit, but in Canada, in an average year, We are throwing away roughly 58% of all the food we produce. So 58%, it's making it into the landfills or probably compost now as well. So that's a lot of wasted food. And when you got people, when you got people who are hungry in the cities, there needs to be better solutions, I think, for the food thing. So that was kind of one of the things I liked with this story. When I saw it, I was like, oh, this was something I didn't know how much. Like, I had no idea we were throwing away that much milk. So that's kind of crazy. Absolutely. All right. Holy cow. According to Jonathan, Harvey Humpscruncher has been pitching Rebel Bot crypto coin. He kind of looks like that guy that might be doing that. He kind of does. Crypto in disguise. That's hilarious. Vineet, I'm checking out your vid. Stay on course. That's right. I mean, you know what, Vineet? I'll give you this advice. And this advice goes to anybody in YouTube. Your first video is going to be your worst video ever. It's going to be your worst. And the goal is, when you're making videos on YouTube, is to get a little better. Make the second video a little bit better. It doesn't have to be a lot better, just a little bit. And then a little bit and a little bit. And before long, you're going to be making videos where when you look back at your first video, you're going to cringe and say, oh my God. But that's just the way it is. That's the way YouTube works. It's a learning skill. You'll learn how to edit. You'll learn how to come to a video with lots of ideas. You'll learn how to basically be able to sit in front of the camera and just continually talk forever. Well, yeah, forever and ever, pretty much. So yeah, it will definitely happen. It'll definitely happen. Why is it being thrown away? My best understanding on that, Skiz, is that with that milk, it's, there's just not a market for it. They've produced more than they need, more than they can sell. And it's just like, okay, yeah, well, we got this extra milk. Let's throw it away. Not the best thing. Not when there's people who are like, who are struggling for sure. Bill says, I'm Vineet's third sub. Well, I'll tell you, Bill, I was Vineet's number one sub. I got in there right away and dropped my sub immediately. So, but I respect number 3 too, for sure. Let's see. Are the farmers doing it, or the lobbyists that require pasteurization and the such? There's a whole lot of things. Like, you take into consideration everything from how much of it, how much of a demand, how much you can move. And that's kind of, it all comes in. It can even be the situation where, for example, in the U.S., if they put some tariffs on Canadian dairy, all of a sudden you can be left with some. Like, this is over, keep in mind, this is from 2012 to now. So there have definitely been a lot of things. And I imagine some years are worse than others. But nonetheless, if we're at the point that we're starting to throw milk away, that's when we start lowering the price on milk so more people can actually afford it. And, and plus we're not throwing it away. It's not a good look. All right, regulators, there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes in for sure. Rami says, hello, Candace. Do you think RMAX stocks will rise with the rate cuts coming? Simple answer, yes, absolutely. I think with these rate cuts, especially if we get those 250 basis points, one on Wednesday and the other one in December, you're going to definitely see some big movements in REITs, including, of course, RMAX. You're also going to see big movements in utilities, and you're going to start to see some movements in the communication stocks. So Bell, TELUS, Rogers, we're going to definitely, and anybody that has a lot of debt too is going to be really, really in good. I don't want to say that they're going to be in good shape, but they're going to be in better shape than they were. So, for example, Air Canada, who has I think we looked the other day, their debt to equity ratio was like 9. No, was it 1,000? It was around 1,000. Around 1,000. Now we have to look. We have to look now. I'm trying to remember what the exact number was, but it was up around 1,000. We'll just give me a second here. Let's go over here. All right, Air Canada. We'll bring them up. All right, let's just go straight into the data. Here we go. Debt to equity ratio, 1,071%. So yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And keep in mind, sometimes when you have really crazy debt in a company, that return on equity can sometimes get skewed quite a bit. So I don't actually believe that they have a return on equity of 603%. But they have been doing good lately. I'll just pull this up here while we're here. Let's look at their last 6 months. So they've, they wasn't long ago they were down in the 15s, and now they're up at 1828. So they've actually had a nice little pump in here. So, but it's not like, for example, you brought up RMAX. Let's bring up RMAX. So keep in mind when you're looking for RMAX that you go to the Canadian one. Otherwise, you're going to go to REMAX in the US. All right, let's just take a look here. So this is a new ETF. So they have only been in existence since June when the rate cuts began. And as you can see, they've gone from $16 up to a high of $18.85. Now there was a little bit of a correction, but they have started to go back up. And once we get some rate cuts, some more rate cuts on the board, this is going to benefit them big time. Now this one here, and this is the beautiful thing, this ETF holds 50% Canadian REITs and 50% US REITs. And the rate cuts have only just begun in the US. So they're going to have, they're going to ride this wave up, and they also have that US wave that's going to help as well. But yeah, I'm still very bullish on RMAX. And keep in mind, they also have this crazy 8.884% dividend. So normally, and this is one of those things, normally when you're dealing with something that does covered calls, you have to worry about that upside potential being lost. Because if strike prices are being hit, they're being forced to sell some of their underlying assets. This one here, things have been moving at such a rate that I don't think we've seen a lot of their strike prices being hit. They've been writing their longs, they've been writing them very well. And we can just tell from looking at the shape that we have. So if we get a really big explosion from the 250s, like if we get 50 and then another 50 in December, we could lose. We could lose a little bit of the upside potential, but I think long term this is going to be a good one. A lot of it because we got both Canada and the US, and that's going to give us a bit more room to ride. So that's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. All right. We got another super chat. Let's bring it in here. Rami is in with a $5 super chat. Thanks, Candace. I appreciate your reply. Oh, absolutely. So guys, I will point out with super chats. Now we are at that point where we are getting busy. I still try my best to answer every question, but we are getting closer and closer to that point in time when it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to grab everything. Once that happens, your super chat is going to be your way to make sure you get your question answered. And if you are a channel member, every month you get a free super chat in there, and those count as well when it comes to getting your questions answered. So be sure to use that if you are a channel member. And and for those of you who are new, by the way, every first Sunday of the month. So the next one will be early November, whatever the first Sunday in November is. We do give away. We give away usually 10, sometimes 11 channel memberships. So definitely be here for that, because you could win one of those, and then check out, because we got a lot of stuff for the channel members. They get a video they get a deep dive every single month. So that's going to be very, very, very cool. And in addition to that, they get to watch all the videos one day early. They also get to vote on the last video of the month as well. So a lot of cool things, and I'm always looking for ways to improve the experience for the channel members. All right, now, where the banana bread was I? All right, I was somewheres around here. We just talked about this. There we go. All right, and all right, Vineet saying thank you. There we go. Vic has providing some support for Vineet. Let's see, I didn't do a script or edit. And that comes. I'll tell you. Once again, I'm going on a tangent. But when I started the channel, I did not script my initial videos. I basically would figure out what I wanted to talk about, and I would try to do it in one take. Funny thing is, I would get to a point where I'd be like 5 minutes into the video and I would mess something up or I'd flub something bad, and I'd start the whole thing over again until I got through in one take. Very quickly, I learned I learned how to edit, because that will save you. Because if you have editing software, and you may not have software, but you do have a Mac, so you do have what, I don't know what the free version is. What is it? iMovie? I think it's iMovie. And you can do editing in that, and that's where I started before I moved to Final Cut Pro. So that would be your next step. Learn how to do that, because then if you mess up, if you talk, if you're happy with the first 5 minutes and then you mess up, well, you can just edit out that mess up and continue. And it's a great trip that you're on. It's fun. You're gonna learn so much along the way. All right. Kevin Cass says, could it also have to do with allowing U.S. milk? Fairlife. There's going to be a lot of factors. Sure, could that play a part? Yeah, absolutely. Is that the major contributing factor? I probably don't think it is. But yeah, all right. Andrew says, I am thinking of starting a private YouTube channel. It will be the most boring, with mostly circle the wagon stocks and a few I regret buying. Nice. Nothing wrong with that. Now, if it's private, I imagine you're gonna at least hand it out to a few people that you want to watch, right? Or you could make it just for yourself. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. All right, Jordan's in the house. Hello, Jordan. Hey there, Candace. Think my silver will maintain its value through the next week? Funny, I feel like I've answered this question already today. I have. I don't see a big correction. I also don't think we have a lot more momentum to go up. So I'm thinking it's going to be, I think they'll be up a little bit over the week, but I don't think we're going to get anything like last week. So hopefully, I mean, in your case though, Jordan, I mean, a correction could be nice, because, give you a better entry point. Because I don't think as far as I know, I don't think you're in a position where you're trying to sell. All right. Ooh, look at this. We got Paul in the house. Hello, Paul. Good to see you. All right. Rami says, I've decided to sell my TD stock at a small loss. I'm tired of waiting for salvation. Oh, dear. Yeah. That's a thing. There is TD. Oh, boy. I mean, they will come back, but I think that they're going to be sluggish at that right now. They really need to get some of this PR behind them for sure. But I do think if you wait, you'll probably be able to get out at a green, especially if you're not talking about very much. But at the same time, I will take a loss. I have no problem taking a loss. Like, I do a lot of sideways trading, and sometimes I will take a loss just because it's like, look, if I know this stock is going to be sluggish, but I know this stock is going to be moving pretty fast, sometimes it does make sense to move it over. You will get investors who are like, I will never sell in a loss. Those are usually investors who don't make a lot of money sometimes, because sometimes you can get yourself stuck into a stock. I look at it this way: if you have a stock that's going to sit flat, and you're in a loss on it, and it's just sitting flat, and your chances of it rebounding are slim. It will eventually, but if you look at that 6 months you're waiting to get back in the green, there might be another stock that if you moved it to, you could get back into the green and be, and have a healthier return over time. So that's, of course, it's all about, like, it always boils down to the math. So you want to do the math. You want to figure out, okay, what is that potential on this other stock? What is the potential on the stock right now that I don't like? That's why fundamentals, I find, are so valuable, because you can go into a stock and that fundamentals is like, it's like looking at the blueprint of that stock and understanding what it can do, what it can achieve. Or if it's time to perhaps get out of that stock all at the same time. So it all sort of boils in there. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I missed it. No worries. No worries. Now, Rami says, I want to sell TD in order to buy RMAX. Hence my previous question. I think it will be, I think I will be advantaged. Am I wrong? If I were in that situation, I would probably do it for sure. Sounds like you've done your due diligence, but definitely, pay attention. Keep in mind too, once the rate cuts are finally done, at that point, you will probably want to watch RMAX because, there might be better opportunities at that point. But I think while we've got the ride up, it's not a bad time to be looking into RMAX for sure. And I'm very bullish on them. So I'm definitely keeping them. And look at what Skit says. I know I skipped Paul. I'll be right back to you, Paul. Like TD, I'm thinking it'll be flat for a couple of years, really considering selling. Yeah. That's the thing. I think TD is going to be struggling for a little bit. So I think it's a good move. Paul says Sol is 225 CAD, has hit over $250 3 times in the last year, then each time after it goes down again. Is this fall into winter different? Well, here's the thing. Looking at the crypto market, everything is contingent upon what is going to happen with Bitcoin. After the halving, we've had the halving. We're now at that point where we should be pumping. So I've been kind of looking at Bitcoin, and I've said this. I said I need to see a new all-time high before the end of October. If I don't, I'm gonna start. My faith will probably take a small hit. Now I do know there are talks out there that a lot of people have been holding off on going all in, or they're waiting to see what the results of the election is. So it's not like I'm going to say, I won't make any kind of trades within crypto because, I didn't get my result by the end of the month. But, I do want to see something sooner than later. I think if we push into November without it, I think you're going to start to see, and this is kind of that thing, you're going to start to see a lot of the people who are in there expecting all of this big stuff in the fall. They're going to start to lose hope. When they start to lose hope, that creates selling pressure. So that could in itself be a bit of a problem for crypto. So with Solana, here's the thing. If we do get that pump with Bitcoin, that's going to benefit a lot of crypto. Like a lot of the main coins, I think will certainly benefit from it, including, of course, Solana, Ethereum. And the way the crypto market usually goes is after Bitcoin has done its big last hurrah in the bull market, then you normally get a pump in the altcoins. That's where, you get a little bit of that. And then after that, everything then goes into a crypto winter. There's definitely going to be a crypto winter. Like I think in 2025, we will see Bitcoin finish whatever it's going to do. And I do think we'll see a bit of I would say a major correction. Now, a major correction at that point may only be 50,000. It may not, it's not going to go, I don't think it'll go all the way back down to 20,000. But, we'll see and we'll play with this. We'll definitely look and watch as we go a little bit further ahead on this one. But right now, Bitcoin is, and all right, let me show you. Now that I can move around, I got to remember, I can now move back and forth pretty. Oh, I'm already there. I was about to put me into this mode. All right, let's go over here. All right, that's Tesla, but let's go to Bitcoin. All right. So Bitcoin, they had a lot of these nice movements up here. This was beautiful. I love this. I'd actually charted this because I was thinking we were going to get a break up to about here. There it is. We did get it. But now we're starting to sort of consolidate, and I haven't drawn a pattern yet for this. But it looks to me like we're going to break soon. Probably, I'm going to think early this week. It could even happen before we open tomorrow, but I'm going to say sometime tomorrow or between maybe Monday, Tuesday, we're going to see something happen here. And I'll chart this later. I'll probably have this charted by tomorrow. So just something to keep in mind. All right. let's get back to the news. We're taking our time, aren't we, today? That's fine. I certainly don't mind. All right, let's get back to the news. All right, and give me a second here. All right, our next story. I do have a bit of an update to the Alimentation Couche-Tard bid to buy 7-Eleven. So there is a group in the U.S. They're called Artisan Partners. Now, they hold about 1% of the shares of 7 & I Holdings Company. So that's the group that owns 7-Eleven. They did publish an open letter this week, and they urged the board to forget about this restructuring plan that they have and focus on negotiating a deal with Alimentation Couche-Tard. So their main argument is that the proposed $47 billion dollar purchase easily outweighs any kind of benefit they could get from restructuring. So last week, 7 & I, they unveiled a plan to split in two with one business focused on 7-Eleven. And so basically those are their convenience stores and their gas stations. The other would be a collection of about 31 less profitable retail operations that they might be able to bring in some strategic partners to get more funding for. So and this comes straight out of the Artisan Partners letter, they said the price currently being offered by ATD is clearly superior to the speculative value that would potentially be achieved by implementing the restructuring plan at this late date. So they're saying it's too late. Let's just do it. This is a good deal for us. It's a good deal for Alimentation Couche-Tard. But for now, they just haven't, I think a part of it is with Japanese culture. They don't like the idea of foreigners coming in and taking over their companies. It's a big thing in the Japanese culture. So that's why we're sort of running into this. But with enough pressure, maybe we can get a deal down the road. Now, it's hard to say. I am still thinking, and keep in mind, I love Alimentation Couche-Tard. I think they're one of my favorite stocks. But if this deal does go through and they have to put up $47 billion, just be aware, part of the way they're going to fund this is debt, and a bigger part of the way they're going to fund this is dilution. So if they have to dilute their shares significantly, that will impact the share price. So that is just something to keep in mind if you are a Alimentation Couche-Tard investor. Now, let me just go. I'm going to go another step further. If this happens, if we get that share dilution, I will absolutely be jumping in on the diluted value after the bill's been paid, because I think this will make them into they will be the biggest convenience store chain in the world. And I think they're going to do really, really well on the long term. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, just to keep in mind. All right. Holy banana bread. All right, let's see where I am at here. And Paul is coming in saying, Wealthsimple, not that great for trading crypto. You lose 1% with each trade. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the crypto traders, a lot of the crypto exchanges, a lot of them do have basically a spread that they have. So even Wealthsimple has it. Wealthsimple is more. It's not really designed. I wouldn't call them a crypto trading platform. Wealthsimple is for that person who wants exposure to crypto, and they want to hold it long term. I think that's fine. Same idea with ShakePay. ShakePay is a good ramp for sure to get in, get your Bitcoin. They do have a spread as well. It's just something you have to be aware of. So if, for example, you're trying to trade, with ShakePay, you can only hold Bitcoin or Ethereum. If you're trying to trade Bitcoin, you're going to have some issues just because of that spread. It means that you have to you have to account for that spread in your trade, because if you don't, you could be making some little trades and actually be losing money without realizing it. So it's kind of that thing that you definitely want to do. All right. No, I don't. Not yet. That's the next thing on my list to get done. So yeah, that is my next thing. I'll probably set it up tomorrow, to be honest. Today today I had to I filmed a video this morning, the one coming out Tuesday, and edited it. So today was pretty much all tight for sure. Andrew says, I sold TD to buy IFC and MSCL. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Let's see. Skiz says, Trump did say he won't sell any of the government's Bitcoin, but he also didn't say the government would be buying more. Well, keep in mind, a lot of the government Bitcoin, I think, has come from seizures. So, for example, when they seize Bitcoin from, whatever criminal activity or whatever criminals have it, I think that might be where a lot of their Bitcoin has come from. But it'll be interesting to see down the road how this is all going to work out. And with right now, with Wall Street believing we got about a 72% chance that Kamala is going to win, I don't think anybody really knows if she is pro or con or what her thoughts are on Bitcoin. So it'll definitely be interesting for sure. All right. Paul says, there we go. Let's click that add to broadcast button. Yes, in some ways, crypto is priced in Bitcoin. In a lot of markets, it would be Sol BTC trade. So if BTC goes up and down, it slightly follows. Yeah, absolutely. All right. HYLD holds RMAX. Yeah, that's a wise move for them. Yeah, HYLD, so that, of course, being that Hamilton ETF, they hold, I believe it's 10. I think they have 10 ETFs that they hold, RMAX, SMAX. There's a lot of them, but absolutely. Yes, a sell to ATD. Excellent. Absolutely. Agreed, share dilution sucks, but 7-Eleven Japan is so strong. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good move for the company overall for the long term, and they have been. This is what Alimentation Couche-Tard does this. They buy companies and they basically suck up a whole bunch of these little convenience stores. Like for example, the Bigfoot stores in the US, they own all of those. All right. Late start investors enjoyed the stream, must go. Yeah, I don't even know how long we've been streaming for. I'm still not through the news yet, so that's funny. Let's see. Would ATD make all stores 7-Eleven or a mix of both? They will not do that. Like when they buy a chain, a well-known chain. So for example, Bigfoot. Bigfoot's known in the US and they bought that and they're not going to change it. They're not going to all of a sudden put up Circle K's or, they're not going to change it. They're going to keep that name. 7-Eleven is well known, that name. So no, they're not going to pull an Elon and say, oh, everybody knows Twitter. Let's just rename it X. And tweets will now be, I don't know if he's calling them posts or what he's calling them, but you don't want to change that. I don't think so. Yeah, exactly, Skiz. Exactly. You are buying the brand. So yeah, why would you get rid of a brand that well known? All right. Burgers that says, I'm doubting a cold winter this year. Yeah. It depends on where you live. But we do have El Nino setting up again. So that's a cold water in the Pacific, and it does impact the weather quite a bit. So I think there's probably a good chance that some people are going to get some pretty mild winters. All right, let's get to our next news story. Holy banana bread. This one is actually cool. This is one I really like. All right, let's pull it up here. I got an email the other day from Tim Danter. So Tim Danter is from the Danter Banter. Some of you know who he is. He used to be a driving trainer on Canada's Worst Driver. But yeah, he passed this over to me and I was like, oh, this is a great story. So Cedar Life Capital, it's Canada's first majority Indigenous owned investment dealer. They have finally gotten all of the necessary they've gotten all of the necessary okays from the regulators to open their doors, and they're going to start operations this month. It's fantastic. So 70% of the dealer is owned by Indigenous investors, And this is kind of cool. The remaining 30% is owned by Scotiabank. So why Scotiabank? So Scotiabank has actually been involved in this right from the beginning. So currently what they're going to do is they're going to provide the tools and the infrastructure Cedar Leaf needs to get things started. But once they're able to self-support themselves, Scotiabank's going to divest their shares and step back, because it's very important, I think, for this to be a eventually, hopefully, 100% Indigenous owned operation. So this company, Scotiabank kind of started it. So Scotiabank had a very big client who was looking for an Indigenous broker-dealer. And Scotiabank put the feelers out and found out there just wasn't one. So they were like, well, there's a need for this. Let's do it. So that's not too shabby. Now, according to First Nations Major Projects Coalition, Indigenous investments in natural resources and energy products, they're looking at about $525 billion over the next 10 years. So, there is a need for this big time. I think it's going to be fantastic. So Cedar Life is also going to strive to bring more Indigenous talent to finance. So as of 2022, only 1.4% of employees in Canada's financial and banking industries were Indigenous. So this is a move, to me, as far as I'm concerned, this is a move in the right direction. I'm actually surprised that this hasn't been done already. So, because when I saw this after Tim sent it, I'm like, seriously? This is something that we don't already have? So good on you, Scotiabank, for stepping in and doing the right thing here. And I look forward to hearing more in the future about Cedar Life Capital. So that was, to me, I call that our feel-good news story of the day. Gonna just quickly jump into the next news story. We'll get 2 done this time. So Netflix had their earnings this week, and as a result of those earnings, they had a pretty good Friday. They actually opened up 8% on the morning. Now, with the earnings, they did beat both their EPS and revenue estimates. And in addition to that, their Q4 sales projections also beat expectations. Now, part of the story it's a story of subscribers. So they did add a lot of subscribers, for sure. They added 5.07 million. They were only expected to add 4.3 million. So they absolutely blew that out of the water. Now, mind you, they are down from Q2. Back in Q2, they added 8.05 million. But you have to realize that whole password sharing thing, that came to an end and sort of came to a head back then. So a lot of people who were sharing passwords had to become subscribers on their own. So that did pump up and inflate Q2. Now, they are expecting bigger numbers in Q4 because they have a very strong slate of programming, which includes, so here's some of the cool ones, the second season of Squid Games, and they've got some a big live event, live content event happening. It's the big fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. In addition to that, if you like the NFL, they plan to have a pair of Christmas Day NFL games. So things are looking good for Netflix, which is kind of fun. Because Netflix, even a year ago, they weren't looking the best. But now they're looking pretty good. They had a good earnings. So those of you who are invested in Netflix, congratulations on some of that. And it does look like they're going to finish the year pretty darn strong. This is awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. What time did the stream start? I think I came in late. 2:42 p.m. Pacific here. Well, it started at 4 o'clock Eastern, so that's 1 o'clock Pacific, I think. Yeah, 3 hours difference. Let's see how well that weather comment ages in January. Oh, you got to realize though, Burgers lives down south, right? So one of the interesting things, one year I spent most of December down in Montgomery, Alabama, and I remember them telling me that they hope they got one freeze in the winter. I was like, really? Why do you want one freeze? And they're saying, well, if we get one good little freeze, we have less insects the next year. So that was kind of their thing. And I was down there in December, and it did not get cold. It just did not. Now, mind you, I was out in shirt and t-shirt, but most of the people there were bundled up a bit more because they weren't used to Canadian weather like I was. So that was kind of cool. All right. Burger says, Skiz, I'm worried about natural gas dropping more, but I'm still buying. Yeah, absolutely. And I know we've talked about that before. Let's see. Indigenous investment broker, do they get tax breaks? That's a good question. I do not know the answer to that. Now I do want to know the answer though. That would be interesting to know. I'm gonna say I doubt it. I doubt it in that case, but I could be completely wrong. I gotta look this up. Thanks, Skiz. Thanks. All right, let's grab our next story here. All right. Now there's some people yelling at me at the screen like, wait, Candace, what the hell? It's Christmas. What? Why? Because we had a new study that came out that involves the holidays. That's the reason for the thumbnail. So it appears that according to a new survey, Canadians are looking to spend more this year compared to last year over the holiday season. So last year, the average Canadian spent $1,347 on retail holiday shopping. This year, we're gonna knock that number up a bit by, $131. Not much, but it's gonna take us up to an average of $1,478. I will point out this year and last year, these averages are actually pretty low. If we go back to 2022, our average was $1,520, and if we go back pre-pandemic, so 2019, it was $1,706. Now, also in the survey, and this is kind of interesting, a lot of consumers, so 42%, have said in the survey that they're waiting for Black Friday deals. So Black Friday this year is like November 29th, and it's not all about consumerism, which is nice. Apparently, 35% of Canadians are planning to donate to charity a bit more this year, which is great. One other little interesting fact in this little this little survey is that 71% of Canadians are planning to buy their gifts on Amazon, and that's of the ones using. Let's just say 71% of digital purchases are looking to come from Amazon. So that's going to be big on Amazon, that's for sure. I have a feeling Amazon might have a pretty good fourth quarter. So we'll have to sort of see how that all goes down. All right. Let's see here. Whoops. Let's see. LNG has a couple of different avenues you can invest: supply, processors, transport. Prediction. All right. I'm going to get rid of the Christmas here really fast. We'll just move to that's one of the reasons I didn't put it as the 8th story. I figured I could get through it really fast because it's too soon. It is too soon. All right. I got another little story about Uber. So Uber has now rolled out their algorithmic pricing in Canada. So they've already got it in BC, but they're now bringing it to Ontario. So basically, this is an AI-based pay model. So this is how it works. So the model uses machine learning to adjust fares and driver pay based on real-time factors. So it could be anything from demand, traffic conditions, weather, time of day, location, and of course the number of available drivers. So it sort of operates very, very similar to some of the dynamic pricing models used in airlines or hotels, where the prices fluctuate according to changing conditions. So the algorithm is designed to maximize earnings for Uber, of course, by charging what passengers are willing to pay while optimizing incentives to ensure driver availability. So the system aims to balance rider demand with driver supply, but it does kind of lack a lot of transparency on how exactly the specific values are calculated. So that's kind of a bit of an issue. It is also raising concerns among drivers and consumer advocates that the new system aims to provide drivers more transparency by showing earnings up front. And the worry is that drivers are basically thinking they're going to get reduced pay, And consumer advocates are worried that it could lead as well to higher fares. So, well, it makes sense. That's kind of what Uber's doing. It's like if they know you're willing to pay more, why not charge more? So that's kind of like, especially if you think about it, if you're waiting for an Uber on a sunny day, there's probably only so much you're willing to pay. And you might be saying, oh, I'll go to Lyft instead, if they charge you too much. But if it's a really bad weather day, like let's say a snowy, stormy day, you're probably willing to pay more because you just want to get in that car. So that's the type of thing that this new AI algorithm is going to take advantage of. So last thing on this is critics are actually arguing that the system lacks clarity on how pay is determined and could enable wage discrimination. So you could be in a situation where for doing the exact same thing, one Uber driver may get paid more than the other simply because the passenger is probably willing to pay more in certain circumstances. So the impact on ride prices and driver income, it's going to be heavily debated, I think, until we get to see this in action. Oh boy. All right. We're just going to plow through the news, guys, just to get it out of the way. I do have a slight little story in the crypto corner. So thanks in part to those spot Bitcoin ETFs, North America has now been declared the capital of crypto. So our continent can now boast that 22.5% of all transactions in the world are coming from North America. So 70% of North American crypto, and this blew my mind. So 70% of the North American crypto transactions are bigger than $1 million. This is definitely pointing at how much crypto the big firms are moving every day. So yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, but it still blew my mind. I was just like, what? Because I'm thinking of all these people making little transactions here and there. But nope, we got a lot of stuff going on. So this week in the sort of the calendar in Canada, as I mentioned before, we do have the Bank of Canada interest rate decision on Wednesday, October 23rd. The day before, we actually have our PPI, which is our Producers Price Index. So that's your wholesale inflation data. And on Friday, we're going to get a chance to take a look at our retail sales data, see how we did in September. There's not a lot happening in the U.S. As I said, it's a slow week. And that's nice because that means there's not a lot of catalysts for the market. Over here in Canada, we got a couple of earnings to watch out for this week. We got CP Rail, CP Kansas City, CNR, Waste Connections, Rogers, and TFII are all coming out with their earnings this week. Not a lot of big ones in the U.S., but a couple of ones that really stuck out was Procter & Gamble and American Express, as they're going to have their earnings. I can't wait. We'll see what that all looks like in the coming week. That's it. That's the news. So we are now done the news, folks. Woohoo! I love it. All right, let's get back to the chat. All right. Okay, can I just say I'm no longer tipping for anything in 2025. Everything is using AI trying to extract money from me. Yeah, tipping culture it's kind of out of control. I've watched a few different videos on just how they try to manipulate you. Everything from the tipping screen. When you get when you go to pay for something with your debit card and they bring up the tipping screen, and they're now asking for tipping on things that you never had to tip on before. So, it's kind of gotten a little bit out of control. And I know in the past, when it comes to restaurants, it was fine. Like, we knew that, people made low wages working in services like that, because the employers were like, yeah, you're going to get bare minimum, and you'll make it up for it on the tips. But we're now getting to a point where it's like every single person is demanding a tip in one way, shape, or form. So I don't know. I mean, I like to be generous and everything, but when has tipping gone too far? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm still I'm still just not big on the tipping. Not that it's expected. I like the idea. I guess I'm going on a small tangent, but I like the idea that, I shouldn't have to pay, I shouldn't have to tip you, let's say 25%. What I should be able to do is I should be able to tip you what you've done. Like, if you've done a fantastic job, I'm going to be inclined to tip you more. So I would like it to be that way, as opposed to, if you give me crappy service, I still have to give you the full tip. Nah, it shouldn't work that way. It should be based on service. You do a great job. I'm going to be inclined to give you a little bit more. All right. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. BC election. BC election is still not decided yet. I know. NDP 46, Conservatives 45, Green 2. Need 47 for a majority, still mail-in votes and voting in a different district, etc. to be counted. Yeah, and there's going to be recounts as well. I have a feeling we won't know the full this election probably for maybe even a week. I don't know. It's a tight one. It's definitely a tight one. Skiz says, so BTC is being traded by big brokerages. I still await a use case for Bitcoin. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, there are use cases. I mean, you can use it as a currency, and it is really, really good if you want to transfer money to somebody in the US, for example, from Canada, opposed to paying a lot of fees to do it, through like a wire transfer or something like that. There are cases out there for it. And, I think right now people are more or less using it as I don't want to say a store of, kind of a store of value, but we'll have to sort of see. I think where we see Bitcoin today and where it may be in, let's say, 10 years, I think it's going to be completely different. I think we'll have a much better idea of what's going to happen with it at that point. I don't think it's going away, though. That's kind of the thing. Like, I'm not sitting here holding a whole bunch of Bitcoin. I trade it because it's volatile. That's what I do with it. I can look at the charts. I can usually figure out what's going to happen, and I will trade that. But, I don't have a whole bunch sunk into it as like a store of value per se. Vic says, my doctor's office got a tip jar. Oh my God, really? Yeah, like here's a tip. Well, I suppose. I mean, it's fun. Like, it's easy to look at a doctor and you think, oh my God, they're probably rich. I think a lot of doctors are not that rich. I mean, especially if they got themselves through med school. Let's say 3 years for an undergraduate, another 4 years for med school. So they've been going to school for 7, maybe 8 years. That's a lot of student loans. So I think a lot of new doctors are absolutely up to their eyeballs in debt. So maybe a tip jar might help, but that's funny. I've never seen a tip jar in the doctor's office, but actually the funniest thing I've seen is at the pharmacy. The local pharmacy has a sign up saying we cannot sell you beer at the pharmacy. I'm just like, wow, seriously? Mary says, tipped on an oil change. Oh boy. You know what? I don't know if I could tip. You take your car to a mechanic. A lot of times they're making so much money off of you. It's hard. It'd be hard to tip on an oil change. Unless you went to like let's say a small mom and pop garage and they cut you this great deal and they saved you a bunch of money on something else too at the same time. Maybe, but it's like wow, I just would never expect there to be tipping at a garage. 10%, is that what you tipped? I don't know. Let's see, no more. 10% doesn't even show up on tip screens now. Yeah, I know. And plus, it's like if you hit that other button, because they're there watching you too. It's like, in the old days, back when there used to be money, it's like, you could throw your money on the table and leave, and they'd find out after you're gone how much their service was worth to you. But no. Skiz says, nope, no tip jars at the doctor's, no matter the justification. Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. All right, guys. We've been here for like 20, it's 20, I was going to say 20 minutes. No, we've been here for 2 hours. If you got your final questions, get them in the chat. I'm going to have some coffee while you guys compose your final questions. And then, we'll go from there. We'll go from there. Sometimes I will say, sometimes I ask for the final questions and we're still here an hour later. But anyway, it's up to you guys. Just drop whatever's on your mind in the chat. Oh gosh, that's so good. I love the coffee. All right. Mary's final thought is thanks. Oops, let's go here. Thanks. All right. Now that we're done the news, I probably should go to a different screen. Well, you know what? Let's go. I think I got the base view set up. Here's the base view. So this is I'm probably going to change this one around a little bit. Like, I don't know if my spacing is this. It's not exactly the same. I gotta play around with it a bit. But yeah, I get all kinds of fun little things that we can do now, which is kind of cool. We got that. We got the other thing. Whoops. Here we go. And Paul says, bad enough businesses asking for charity donations. The company uses that for a deduction. Yeah. It's like there are things I don't mind donating to, but I'm very picky. So, for example, probably the one thing in the Maritimes, I'm living in Ottawa, but in the Maritimes they have this thing. They have this thing called Christmas Daddies every year. They look at this bracket Christmas, but basically it's a charity that they run to sort of help provide gifts for local children. It's been around as long as I've been there, and they hold a telethon every year. So I don't mind dropping money to them because I know that my mom didn't have a lot of money. She was a single mom, and we actually received gifts from them when I was a kid. So I'm like, okay, this is fantastic. So that's the type of thing that I will do my investing with. All right. Skid says, did you change your lighting, or is your hair so vibrantly colored? It's the vibrant. Basically, when I color my hair, what happens is it's kind of really bright for a couple of days, and then it washes out, and it tones itself back down. But I actually colored my hair yesterday, so that's what we're seeing. The lights, I am using artificial light right now because it's not. We no longer have the natural sunlight like we had through the summer. But anyway, thanks for noticing. Let's see. Paul says the green side and orange side seem different, but is that an optical illusion? It's a gradient. There's a gradient around that box, so that this is more of the orange on this side, and the other side is the green, and then it bleeds towards it. I don't know if I can drag me out of the picture. Hopefully this is working. There, you can sort of see the background. I hope you guys can see it. I don't know if you can or not. You might not be able to. I don't know. But I tried to drag it out. So, but yeah, it's just a thing. I'm probably going to change that. I don't know if I like it or not. I might change it a little bit. I kind of liked, like when I was doing it before, that little green background I had with the little gold swirls? I really like that as the background, so I might bring that back. I've got a lot, like I said, this is all brand new, this new Ecamm Live, so I got a lot of things I can play with and get, till I get things perfectly the way I like them. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be very, very fun, but for now, we're going to go with what we have, so I like it. I like it for sure. All right, let me see here. Let's see. Oh, production quality improvements. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. There's so many things that this can do. Apparently, and I haven't figured this part out yet, but you can get special effects in here. So if I want to be able to shoot lightning from my hands, I'll be able to do it. I have no clue how to do that yet. I just know I watched somebody on one of the Ecamm Live tutorials going on saying, oh, you can do this. But I don't know how to do it yet. So there's different little things. And the beautiful thing too is if I have to do a Zoom call with somebody for whatever reason, I'll be able to bring a lot of these because it can set up a virtual camera, so I can bring some of the stuff that I can do in here over to the virtual camera. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think it'll be very cool as we move forward. All right, guys. Oh, wait a minute. No, I see another question coming in. I was about to sign off, but I'm not going to sign off if there's a question. Paul says, you seen any of the English India news on YouTube? Their format has tons of boxes for the people and flashing headlines. Yeah. I don't want to overwhelm people with flashing headlines. That to me is not something I am going to do. Ooh, I just got a dislike. Nice. I don't know why, but I get to see them too. Yeah, I'm never going to overwhelm people with a whole bunch of flashing stuff. I'm going to try to keep things... I want to keep my display as clean as possible. I'll certainly add stuff to it that I think adds value, but yeah, it's like I'm not going to put a ticker at the bottom of the screen with the news on it or something like that. It just... I'm just going to do things to make things better, just to improve things. But yeah, we're not going to go any further than that. All right, everybody. Whew. This has been another good stream. This has been fantastic. We will be back again, of course, on Wednesday. We'll do the market close. Wednesday, I will give an opportunity to get another stream on Friday if you guys are looking for one. So... Add the Candace ticker. Oh, maybe. Or maybe we could have a ticker with some of our favorite stocks on them. As long as it's not flashy. And, I'm going to go by, and I'll go by your guys' feedback. Like, if I put something up and I get people saying, oh my God, that's horrible. That's horrible. I'm going to be like, yeah, no. Need a soundboard like Mad Money. Oh, yeah, we definitely need a sound. I have sounds here, but the problem is, they're kind of loud. Well, I could try. Oh, dear. I'll try. I'll try one more time, but this time I'm going to try to turn the volume down first. Let's go with... we'll go with just this here. All right. So this here is the... I think it's a rim shot or a dum-dum-dum type thing. There we go. They're all pretty loud. So I just pulled it. I'm cutting the volume in half, and this is an applause. So we got that. So we do have some sounds. We got like a DJ air horn. Never going to play that. That's just loud. Yeah. We have like a triangle. Give you that. There's probably other sounds. Oh, you... I was just joking. That's fine. I gave you a little bit of sound. All right. All right, guys. This has been another fantastic show. We'll be back here Wednesday. Cannot wait. Yeah, I've got so much planned for the channel, so I'm looking forward to what we got left coming up this year. And keep in mind, in December, we are doing a financial Vlogmas, so there will be a small live stream every day from the 1st of December to the 24th. That's the time of Vlogmas, and we're going to try to do stuff outside of the box for that. So pretty much maybe outside of the office too, outside of the studio. We'll have to see how that's going to look. I have to sort of figure that all out. But until then, well, not until then, because that's a long ways away, but until Wednesday, take care. We will be back again soon. You guys rocked. Bye, everybody.